Hello, ladies and germs. I am the Grumble, the monster born of the excess and disgusting practices of the video game industry. And I'm bored. Bored. Oracle! Oracle!
Yes, your evilness.
Show me something of the future of video gaming. Something deliciously cruel.
Yes, your evilness. If you'll just look into the portal.
Welcome to BFF or Die. BFF or Die is a cooperative maze puzzle game for 1 to 4 players. As you can see, the game is designed for multiple people sharing a single controller. The aim of the game is very simple. Collect all the fuel on the level and then high five. You have one person controlling the spotlight initially and the other running through the maze. This is a unique kind of setup, and in single player, very challenging as you have to control both characters at the same time. Having collected all the fuel on a level, you must high five the other characters to progress. This is one of the first levels with a slight puzzle on it. As you can see, some of the fuel is trapped behind other walls. This level requires you to stand on a button which releases the walls, and the other person must then navigate through the maze to collect the fuel. You must then high five as usual. As you can see, as the game progresses, the complexity rises. Now we're about to see the first level with enemies. On this level, there's the decoy. The decoy is used to distract enemies to get them to move around the level. As you can see, there's a very basic enemy here. Place the decoy, shoot it, and it'll move towards it. That released the walls, which allow me to collect the rest of the fuel on the level. This is a game by Honeytribestudios. As you can see, this level is slightly more complex. There are 3 of the basic enemies. To place the decoy in such a position that they won't walk into you on their way to the decoy. They will always move in the most direct path to the decoy. Again, quite a simple level. This is one of the very early levels in the game. As you can see, the game is clearly not finished. The animations on the characters are still in development. This is the Alpha 0.2 version of the game. It's actually a demo available from the company's website. Now here's one of the more interesting ones. As you can see, 3 enemies trapped inside there. Problem being, the moment you go near, you can push that stone there to release them. The moment you go near though, they're going to come towards you. So you have to use the decoy, which drains some of the ship's power, to distract them. And yes, you can distract them multiple times. They will get bored of the decoy very fast. This, of course, means you have to balance distracting them with the decoy with the need to maintain power to make sure you don't get killed. This is the first level to introduce enemy spawning. As you can see, the door on the right is opened, and out comes one of the first enemies. You can deploy the decoy, as you can see, with it still on the ship. That will distract them and make them move towards the ship. The problem being, if they reach there, they will, of course, kill the person operating the stuff in the ship. This is quite a unique way of bringing enemies into a level, as the idea that you don't actually see them spawn. Well, it's quite a nice little trick to hide the spawning. Now, I think this might be one of the first levels I actually lose on. Not quite sure. The enemies will, of course, always go to the decoy if you can shoot them. Ah, this is one showing you have to sneak by them. Running through the rest of the maze, running through. This is going to be quite a game for co-op play, I can imagine. For the demo version there are 30 levels, which is quite substantial really for an alpha version. The introduction of the ghost. The ghost is the second enemy, well, the third enemy type in the game. The ghost moves in a direct line straight towards the player. It doesn't have to navigate the maze, it can ignore all walls and go straight for the player. This makes it very nasty to deal with. As it means you have far less time, and it makes it harder to balance with other enemies. You have to sneak around. So you can see I placed the decoy in a rather unfortunate position. But you can sneak around. They are fairly slow early on. As in later levels of the game, they are slightly quicker. And so are the mummies. Decoy just doing its job there. As I say, it's quite an unusual concept. A cooperative puzzle game like this. This is the level that introduces the grabber, one of the later mechanics. You can use the grabber, lift things up, you get a small spotlight. And of course you can lift up the other player and just drop them in to collect items. One of the nastier tricks that I've discovered, you can pick the enemies up and put them in boxes to keep them out of the way. I don't know whether that's cheating, but it seems to work. The soundtrack's just really nice. I'll let you listen to it. And yes, you can also use it to lift yourself back up. Just seems really well designed. Seems like a really nice little concept for it. As you can see, there are a few frame rate, just as that's actually because my recording software, not the game itself. And as you notice, if you get stunned, you can pick yourself up, and if you touch the other player, you'll immediately bring them back to life. You only lose if if all the players in a level end up turned to stone. So you can see I'm just putting the enemies in the box again. Rather nasty little trick you can do. You can't do it with the ghosts though. Only with the mummies. Really useful idea. It means that the person who's actually running the maze has something to do, and the person operating the devices also has something to do. Arguably, you could do it with 3 or more players, so on later levels each of you has a device to operate. It's actually really good idea so that it doesn't feel too basic. And that's one of the other mechanics. In some levels the maze just disappears and you have to make a mad dash to the ship. can see, not all levels have a standardized maze. This level has a single bit just out the way, and the rest of it being an open maze area. And there's the ghost. So the ghost is of course the equalizing mechanic. Oh, you can pick up the ghost like that, but it drains the power a lot quicker and you can't really put it anywhere. So you have to run around the maze, try to avoid everything. Deploy the decoy, of course, to distract them. The big challenge, of course, is if you're not on the spotlight, you can't actually see quite where the ghost is. So you only have a vague idea, so it makes it harder to avoid the damn thing. The game's just charmingly simple and really nice to look at. I've got to give credit. Okay, as you can see, that one was quite close. Now the teleporter. This is one of the later mechanics in the game. You can place a little dot, then you place a second one. You can use it once to teleport. Just once though, and that's the challenge. Let's have a look, see if I'm going to find the right place to teleport in. So you can of course get out at the end. There you go, got in. I'm just looking round. Can I find us a way in? Well, I'm going to try. Place the decoy. Open that. And then quickly drop that. Drop myself inside. So I've got around all the enemies then. And as you see, it opens up. Oh no, I got stuck running around. Drop one of those. Drop one at the side. It's not quite safe enough yet. Drop one the other side of the wall. Ooh, dodge around all the enemies. Go all the way back around, and I'm out. Then just high five at the end of the level again. As you can see, it always introduces the thing with a fairly easy introductory level, and then it requires you to use it far more. Especially as it starts to spawn enemies, including the ghosts. Might seem like a real cheating trick to be able to just jump around the level, but when you're playing single player, it's quite tough to control both bits at once. As you can see here, there's a wall just blocking it off. The maze changed, so there was no exit. You have to use the teleporter to teleport out. I really think this game's going to be something quite special. Really something different. I mean, with a lot of co-op games, you can't really play them single player. But this one, while the developer will say, and has said that it takes ninja skills to do it single player, it's still quite good. It's still a good challenge if someone's after one. So you can either play it with multiple players, which will make it simpler in theory, or you can play it single player, which is a real test of your skill. As you can see on this level, the mummies are slightly faster, and there are buttons which the enemies can stand on, which change what the maze looks like. There are 3 buttons on the level. They stay depressed. So of course, when the maze changes, you might be in more or less danger than you thought previously. This is a tough thing to balance out, as it means you're never quite going to be sure whether the maze is actually whether the maze is going to be the same, or whether you've got a clear escape route. As you can see, I lost. It's not that easy playing single player. So you just have another go at the level, and as you can see, there's those large lump enemies. Those don't actually chase you, as I've said before, but they will move to the decoy, which makes them far more dangerous, because you can end up blocking yourself off very badly if you put the decoy in the wrong position. You could argue that part of it is learning the levels and trying to get through, but part of the challenge really is trying to figure out the best way around the levels, and just trying to figure out how you can avoid getting caught quite so easily. That's part of the challenge of it. See, now I could have used the teleporter on this level and really cheated a bit, but it just shows you don't have to use all the technology on every level at the same time to get through. Which means it's been designed quite well for different approaches. As you can see, just collecting fuel, collecting more fuel. This is the first time period. I'm guessing there are going to be more later on in the game. And here's a little trick for you. Drop the teleporter. Teleport the BFFs back to the ship, even if they're stunned. That means you can avoid the enemies very, very easily if you know what you're doing. Now here's a nasty one. You can see the enemies are caught in there. I don't have access to the teleporter anymore. What you have to do, you have to get them to walk over those buttons to change the maze. Thing being, it releases more enemies into the maze. This is one of the first levels to show where you can actually drop the entire maze, as if you press the second button, the rest of the walls will drop, and all you have to do is keep the enemies distracted constantly, then just run back to the ship. Now the first level with the jump cube. This also uses the same energy used for the decoy, so you have to be sparing with it. The jump cube, of course, you can put down and it will make you jump in the direction that you are facing, as shown. Jump clean over. Good. Went through all of that. Now I've got to try and escape, figure out which blocks I can push to get round. As you can see, going round. A bit of a puzzle level, not really any enemies, as it's just introducing the mechanics. So, how do I escape this one? Oh, just push that straight down. Now, some of the mazes do vary slightly when you replay them, so you might not get the same exact setup as me. Now, I'll showcase some of the harder levels. This is, of course, going to be one of the harder levels, having just introduced the cube. I now have to use its mechanics to navigate the maze. And most likely I'm going to die on this level. There's a ghost. There's one of the mummies. Try to keep both of them in view. Jump over the wall to escape them. Collect those bits. And guess who's got himself caught? Oh, no. Just made it out. Except then the maze changes, and guess what? I am trapped. Used up all the energy. Ghost after me. Can I get out? Oh no, dead end. And that is the importance of knowing quite what to do. As you can see, I just missed one of the enemies, and he runs towards me. Use the last bit of power, but I'm doomed. I am doomed. you can see, it's not that easy. One of the tricks, I'd say, is to try and keep the jump block as long as possible. Use it just when you have to escape, not constantly. And of course you want to make sure that when you deploy the decoy it's not right next to you. And that's one of the other tricks. You can actually deploy the decoy, set it off, and then move it around back to the ship or into the maze. That'll let you get out of tight corners. But it also means you might end up catching the person in the ship, which means you lose the light, which means you then have to navigate the maze in total darkness. There you can see, collected all the fuel, and oh no, ended up in a straight line. Nope, did not get enough fuel. I have one last run. Oh, ran straight into the enemies. It's quite a nice little idea. The idea of going through different time periods. I'm guessing the next one's not going to be an Egyptian time period, but in the demo, the first 30 levels of the Egyptian time period. Yes, I said 30 levels. This is a 30 level alpha demo that the developers put out. That should say something about quite how ambitious this game probably is in terms of how big it will be. It really is quite a thing to look at. It is quite a unique idea, really. Not quite sure how to say much more than that. Oh, this is one of the nasty ones where I realised that I've actually got the other player caught, and I need to run all the way around the maze to try and free them, but no. That's one of the other mechanics. You can also leave the ship if you need to rescue the other player, but then you don't have all the gadgets, which makes it harder to do, which makes it more likely you're just going to die anyway. So as you can see, the maze has changed ever so slightly. The position of the fuel has changed, makes it slightly different, so you can't just use the same tricks and same tactics every time. There's a little one, just distracted, get the ghost into the corner. Oh no, two enemies coming. Jump over the jump block. Also, if you have an enemy nearby and you use the jump block, it will attract the enemy to the decoy. So you can activate decoy and the jump block at once, but it requires a bit of practice. See, as you could see, if the power goes red, that means I'm in trouble. It's one of the nastier levels. There is an even nastier level later on. As you can see, I've gone the wrong way. Again. Need to figure out a way out. Can I figure out a way out? Hide in the corner. Nope, hiding in the corner probably won't work. As you can watch, you can see I've already run out of ideas, and I slowly give in, as I don't quite have enough power to actually do much more than send them once, and by the time I get more power, they don't go far enough for me to actually do anything. This is one of those levels where I really should have held on to the cube. This shows this isn't an easy game, and you really have to pay attention. So on to the next bit. As you can see, So let's try this jump block puzzle again. As you can see, going along. Oh, managed to escape that one. Just got to get the jump block in the right place. As you can see, it is getting harder. Oh, luckily there is a slight margin for error. It's in there. I think that's deliberate. Now the question is, can I get out of there? Yes, I can. And have I got myself stuck this time? Nope. Clear path out. Sometimes it is random luck, sometimes it is learning level, but it is a really, really nice game so far. Now this is one of the harder levels. This is, again, although it doesn't have the enemies spawning in. It just has a single enemy trapped in the corner. The trick with this one is you have to get the power thing in the top right corner, behind the enemy. Oh, look, there is a ghost spawning in. So, this shows just how much margin for error the game allows. Just watch. Made it through that section. Now looking at that, oh dear. Realise I'm in trouble. Although what you're about to see is a glitch. As you can see, the enemy didn't actually come out. That's proof this is an in-development game still. And I'm guessing the developer will be fairly happy that that glitch is shown up in the preview and not in a full review video or anything like that. So you can see it just in time. Just managed to catch it in time. Here's the problem. I know I can't actually get out. Oh, and then I get turned to stone because I'm an idiot. This is where trying to play two at once comes in. Can I make it? Yes, I can. I have to run both of them out of the maze because I'm not coordinated enough to control two. Send the two to there. Sneak in. So, what can I do? What can I do? So, I decide the best way to do this is to sneak around the back here. All around the back of the level. Recall the decoy. Place the decoy there. Wait for the two to be in the same pane. Same view. Sneak behind. Get that. And then run to the exit. And I am going to show you some of the later levels as well. Just to give you an idea. This is one of the levels where you get access to everything. And it's one of many that's happened later on. As you can see, enemies spawning, running in. Fuel's more scarce, and of course, the enemies are more numerous. So, of course, at the corner, deploy the decoy, jump over it, realise it didn't actually activate to scare that one off. Get the next bits of fuel. Push them into the corners, and I realise I've got to run all the way around the maze, and I'm stuck. I'm done for. Here's another ghost. Now, sometimes you have to understand that you have to run and grab the block. Now, here's where you can cheat with the additional things. Pick yourself up. Drop yourself later into the maze, and then get caught. And then lose like that. Which is where power management comes in. Now I'll just show you one of the... Just retry that level. As you can see, that shows how many levels there are just in this demo. Grab that one. Grab that one. Just use the grab to sneak round. This is just one of the little tricks you can do. You can see sneaking round. Got all of them, and then just recall. Right. Then I realise I've got myself stuck. So I have to leave that one, get to there, and use the jump pad to jump over. And I think in a moment I'm going to show you one of the last level, just to show you the other mechanics that aren't introduced until much later. There we go. Just show you level 30, just to see how hard it gets. Doesn't look too bad, right? Well, here's one of the first abilities. You can actually remove the walls. It drains all the power from the claw. Here's the other ability, if I can do it. That thing that I'm terrible at aiming is a stun bomb. Now, I'll do the level again. See if I can actually get the stun bomb to work. Stun bomb. If I can get it to deploy. Don't know if you can stun the ghosts. I don't think you can. I may be wrong. Sneak around like that. Oh, look, there we go. Stun bombs stun the enemies for 2 seconds. And I think that is the end of the preview for today. So, what do you think, my evilness?
The game looks promising, as long as the developer remembers to put in online co-op, as not many PC players will play 2-player in front of the same screen, let alone 4. It seems like the perfect game to help prepare the world for my conquering. Who knows? Those mortals forced to work together, forced to learn to hate one another, to learn to hate the mistakes of the other person. It will drive humanity to destroy itself, ready for my conquering. This game looks very promising.
Thank you for watching this gameplay preview video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to like, favourite, subscribe and leave a comment down below. Thank you very much for watching. There's also a subscribe button floating above my head somewhere, so if you click that, it should subscribe you to the channel for future videos, so you don't miss any of them. The Grumble will return.